Hello, I want to take you through a quick tour of Photoshop. That is, after all, what the class is called. And so I've opened up Photoshop on my computer. I've got Photoshop 2020. This is the most recent version of Photoshop. And I'm going to click Create New. When I click Create New, I get all these options. I've got starting with recent, things I've created recently. And then I've got saved, any presets that I've saved. And then some standard presets. So if I go to Photo, excuse me. If I go to Photo, you can see here some different kind of standard options. Over on the right hand side, you can see it's giving you the width by the height and the resolution. For anything that's photo or print, anything that might be printed at all, you want to have a resolution of at least 300. And then you've also got orientation. I'm going to switch over to print for a second to show you what I like to use. Usually it's a US paper size. This is letter size. So it's 8.5 inches by 11, 300 pixels per inch is the resolution. And I typically change the orientation from portrait to landscape. Right? And this just switches the width and the height so that it's wider than it is tall. I also have some other presets, art and illustration. These are still at 300 pixels per inch, different sizes. Web. Now this one would be at 72 pixels per inch because computer screens typically have a lower resolution. There's no reason to increase your resolution in your image if your screen's not capable of showing it. It only increases the file size and download times. So there's no reason to have 300 pixels per inch for something that will only be displayed on the web. Alright, I'm going to switch back to print, change resolution again, and click Create. And from here I have some panels on the right, my layers panel. This is very important. In Photoshop, everything has to be on its own layer. That way you have individual control over every item. And you've got colors. You can use this to scroll through your colors. I'm just clicking and dragging. And once I find the color I want, then I can choose the shade of that color. And then this is the foreground color I have selected and the background color. All right. I have some other collapsed panels here. History is very helpful. I can go back, and if I make a mistake I can go back through it and undo it. Properties, some text, and or some character and paragraph settings for using text. And then I have a menu system up here at the top with the various options. This is a context toolbar here that changes depending on which tool I have selected. So if you'll look at that context area, I'm going to switch over to the Move tool, and all my options here changed. So that secondary menu there changes depending on which option or which tool you have selected. And then on the left you have your toolbar, so you can select your tools. This is a very handy thing in Photoshop 2020 because if you hover your mouse over any tool, it will give you the name of the tool and even create an example or show you an example of how that tool is used. So that's pretty handy. I like that a lot. And as I go down, I can see I've got colors here that I can change from here as well. I can change my magnification level. Right now, we know I set up this size as 11 by 8.5, 11 inches wide, 8.5 inches tall. But it's zoomed in or zoomed out so that it's only showing at 16.67%. So very small. If I zoom this all the way into 100, there's 100, then you can see as I drag this around that it takes a while to get to the edges. Still going. There we go. So instead I'll just fit screen, and that's now at 23%, just a little over. Alright, so that's a very quick introduction to Photoshop. Of course, on your Chromebooks you cannot use Photoshop, so there's an alternative that we're going to use. It's not something I've used a lot, but it is something that I know works on your Chromebooks, and so I'm going to switch over to that now. In your browser, if you go to Photopea.com, you can use this version, this tool. And It's designed to look like Photoshop, but it's a web-based version, so there's some differences. It's just not as good, quite frankly, but it will do, and I think you'll get used to it. So let's start a new project. The first thing you might notice is you've got all of these templates. We're typically not going to start with a template, right? But we've got some different options over here, similar to what we had in Photoshop. I can choose something for the screen. This would be similar to the web settings. So if I choose this 640 by 480, I get my resolution set to 72. Then here's my size. I can reverse those. Or if I go to print, scroll down, here's my letter settings, and I've got 8.5 by 11. Again, I can reverse those to make this landscape instead of portrait. My pixels per inch is 300. They call it DPI, dots per inch. It's the same thing, it's the resolution. So you don't need to get hung up on that. And now I'm just going to click create. My background's going to be white. Click create, and here I am with my new canvas to work with. I have the layers panel in the bottom right, same as Photoshop. I've got my color panel here. If you don't see your color panel, you can go to window and choose color, and that will turn that on. I think that by default it's not on, so you may not see that. If I need a new layer, I can click that here. If I need to delete a layer, I can click that here. I can arrange layers in folders if I would like. There's some other things we'll get into later. And again, context toolbar, I've got some different options depending on which tool I have selected. If I'm using the move tool, then I've got some things here. I'll go over real quickly what these things are. I want to show you the paintbrush. This is pretty simple. I'm just going to click and drag a little bit with the paintbrush and make some scribbles. If I wanted to adjust the size of the paintbrush, I can do that here. If I want to adjust the hardness, which right now is set at 100, and really I don't like the name of this. It should be sharpness, because the opposite of sharp is blurry. And if I take that all the way down, then you can see the edges get blurry. So that's more an edge sharpness there. I don't like this, so I'm going to erase it. Again, if I don't know what the tool icon is by sight, I can just hover my mouse over it and it will show me. But here I've got the eraser. I'm going to go ahead and erase this, and it's also erasing my white background and creating this transparency. The eraser tool, by the way, changes just like the brush size. I can adjust the size here. The hardness is the same, or sharpness. Alright. So what I did that was a mistake is I made that red line on my background layer. I shouldn't have done that. But because there's nothing else here, it's an easy fix. I've erased it. I'm going to select my paint bucket, which if you don't see is in with the gradient tool. I'm just going to get, again, paint bucket. I'm going to change my color to white, and then I'll just click to fill that in. Click once with the paint bucket. And then if I make a new layer and use the brush tool to switch back to a different color that I can actually see. Alright. So now I've got this brush tool. Again, I don't like it, so I'm going to erase. But now when I erase, I'm only erasing what's on this layer called layer 1. Okay? So I can't erase anything that's not on this layer. Alright, so I'm going to show you a couple more things. I've got a shape tool down here. The rectangle is the default on that one. And with the shapes, I can have a fill color and a stroke color. A stroke is just an outline. So if I want to change this, I can. I can change this. I'm going to use a solid color and just make that yellow. I can adjust how many pixels that is. Just leave it there for now, and then when I'm ready I just click and drag, and I get that shape. And you can maybe not very clearly see the yellow outline, but if I take this up, then now I have a very clear outline that you can see. the shape tool made its own layer. I didn't have to add a layer for this. You can see that it added its own layer. It's a shape, and so it doesn't get a typical layer. All right. If I have switched away from this and then want to select it again, I can use the direct selection tool. And with the direct selection tool, I can select this shape to be on the layer. Select this shape, and then I can adjust any of these options that I could adjust before I created it. Alright, but that shape has to be selected. I also can use, there's an ellipse which will make circles, there's a line. I want to show you the parametric shapes because you have options. You can make polygons, stars, arrows, spirals. And you can also adjust the number of sides. I think the default is going to be 5. I'm going to set that to 3 though. And you can adjust the corner radius. And then you can make a shape. I'll switch to the move tool. And now obviously if I was going to make a house, let's say, this is a goofy looking roof. So I can make it, use transform controls here and adjust the size of this triangle. I can move it into place. And when I have it the way I want it, I can just click on the confirm button. If I don't like what I've done, I can click on that X and it'll go away. And I can just turn off transform controls. Before I do, real quick, I want to show you that if you have this curved line, you can actually rotate this by clicking and dragging. Alright, so I'm turning transform controls off. And I also want to show you the custom shape tool. I think this is something that you'll like. It works like the other shapes. You can have the fill color and the stroke color. Change the lines, which I actually didn't show you, but you can have different line styles and change the corners and that kind of thing. Here's where custom shapes are handy. You have all these already pre-made shapes that you can use, and in some cases you will want to go ahead and use a pre-made shape rather than trying to create it yourself. There are quite a few pre-made shapes in here that you can use, and the way they work is, let's say I wanted to make this arrow, I could just click and drag, and you can see there as I click and drag it'll take different shapes. If I hold the shift key, it'll constrain the proportions, so you can see it's keeping it. If I were to draw a line around the edges of this, it would be a square. The height and width have the same number of pixels, so it's keeping it proportional. And then let go, and you can see that obviously for this shape that thicken outline does not work, but you can adjust that after the fact while the shape is still selected. Alright, so what I want you to do is go to Photopea.com. I want you to make a very simple drawing of your house and then submit it. Before you can submit it, this is how you'll have to save it. You go to File, and you can save as PSD, or you can export. If this is something that you want to use on your computer, then you can just export it as a JPEG. So I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. Go ahead and click JPEG. This is not showing me the entire preview, and that's okay. It's still going to export the entire thing. I can adjust the quality here. There you go. I'm not sure why it jumped back down. Alright, that's just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And so here it is. It's called New Project.jpg. Now on your Chromebooks, I actually don't know where this is going to go. You must have a downloads folder or something, but I don't use the Chromebook, so I'm not real sure. For me, this goes into downloads, so I would just click on my folder icon here, go into downloads, and then I have new project. This is what I would attach in Google Classroom by just going to Google Classroom, clicking Add File, and attaching it from there. If you have questions, you can ask them in Google Classroom in the comments. You can send me an email. but what I want you to do is make a picture of your house.